Welcome to our Ayurveda talk. Tonight, we are talking about Agni. Agni is one of the most important things in Ayurveda to understand because Agni is your digestive fire. If your digestive fire is weak, then so is your metabolism. And then, in fact, every other part of your body gets compromised because if you cannot digest your food properly, then you don't absorb those nutrients and none of your other systems get fed properly. So just think of this. Every system you have in your body that is working to keep you happy and healthy and in equilibrium, all of your tissues are fed through the digestive system. And we want our digestive system to be balanced, and we want to have our digestive fire strong, not too strong, but strong, so that we can absorb what we eat and nourish our body, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about Agni. Agni means digestive fire. I use a lot of the Ayurvedic definitions and things like that, but tonight I'm using a little bit of Ayurveda and yoga because digestive fire is also important in yoga. So Deskachar, who was the teacher of Pattabhi Jois and BKS Iyengar. So Pattabhi Jois is the one that developed Ashtanga power yoga, and BKS Iyengar developed the Iyengar yoga, which is where you hold the poses for long periods of time. Those are very famous styles of yoga, and their teacher was Deskachar's father. So Deskachar was the father for all of these guys who brought yoga over to the West. So it is because of these guys that we learned all about yoga in the West. Okay, so Agni is located in your navel, and it's where two forms of prana meet. All right, so prana, remember, is also called air, breath, and vital force. So they're really talking about prana. They're talking about air in this regard. They're talking about the vayus. So remember, the vayus are part of the air element, and they move in all different directions. And you are manipulating the vayus, air, in everything that you do, all your activities. So when Agni in the navel comes together, it's where two parts of the air movements come together. So the two movements are pranavayu. So pranavayu is where you take in air, and then apanavayu. So apanavayu is downward forcing air. So you have upward and downward. Those are the two movements. And they meet together. In between them is where Agni resides, in the navel. All right. And then in yoga, we have all these practices that we do that help to build and ignite that fire, build our prana so that we have more prana and we can keep it contained within ourselves. And this is really important because if you don't have enough prana, if you don't have enough energy, then you're depleted. You can't sustain your body. So your Agni is so important. Okay, the flame, Agni, it's constantly changing its direction due to the movement of prana and apana. Prana that's moving up, apana that's moving down, okay? On the inhale, so when you inhale, breath moves towards the belly. So remember, we talk about this when I'm talking about the diaphragm. When you inhale, feel what's going on with your diaphragm. It's actually moving down. Okay. When you exhale, when you inhale, it's moving down. When you exhale, it's moving up. Okay. So you're feeling the diaphragm move up and down. Okay. So on the inhale, breath moves towards the belly that directs the flame downward. Okay. On the exhale, breath moves the flame in the opposite direction, bringing within just burnt waste and matter. So if you have any debris in that area, it brings it there together. Extending the exhale helps free itself of toxins and blockages. Also, extending your exhale relaxes and calms the nervous system. Inverted postures, so anytime you do a posture where you're upside down, inverted postures are aimed at bringing that digestive fire, your Agni, and all of the toxins, or we call it rubbish, together. Why do we want to do that? Because we want to intensify that fire in the belly and burn the rubbish so it's not floating around as toxins in our system. Cleansing intensifies when we combine inverted postures with pranayama techniques. Remember, pranayama techniques are breath work. Pranayama rids the body of the apana, waste, downward air, so that the prana can find more room within. That means that you can bring in more air. Okay? When waste is released, prana then fills the space in the body where it really belongs. Okay, so this is why it's such a big deal. And I do individual breath work with people, and they will come in and I will do these different breathing exercises with them. And then all of a sudden they'll have an emotional release, or their body will have a release. Things will come up, and that stuff, we literally are just holding it there. It's like having a knot in your gut. That's rubbish, right? That's toxins. Your body, any traumas that you've been through, and I'm not saying that you had to be in a car accident. Sometimes traumas are just like you had a first grade teacher that yelled at you every day, right? And you had to like deal with that as a little 6-year-old. That's a trauma. Or, you know, there was something that you had to go through in your life that for you, it created a trauma. Those get lodged in the tissues in the body. So these practices become really important because then they help clear out all that rubbish so that you have more space, like it says, for more prana. What's prana? Well, it's breath, but it's also our vital force. You have more space for your vital force. And we meet people like that, we go, wow, they feel so present. When we meet people who they are within themselves, they have a lot of presence, it means that they have more space for prana. So therefore they're present. They're actually occupying their body. They have less stuff. I almost said the S word. They have less stuff that is creating problems so that they have all this rubbish and no place for their own vital force. Okay, so there are 2 forms of prana involved in the Agni, digestive fire. Prana Vayu, Apana Vayu. Prana is the force that enters the body. Apana is the force that leaves the body. So prana allows you to inhale. Apana allows you to go to the bathroom, eliminate. Okay? And those are physiological. They're not made up. Apana is the force that provides energy for the lower region of the abdomen and its physiology and functioning of elimination. I just said that. Oh, Caitlin, you guys are doing another bubble. It refers to the lower belly and toxins and rubbish that collect there. And when there is an imbalance with prana. So if you have too much prana, it might build up as toxins in the lower belly. I don't know if you guys have read that book, Breathe. If you haven't read it, read it. It is an amazing book. And in the old days, when people had respiratory issues, they would go to the hospital and they thought that the problem was the inhale. These people can't take in breath, so therefore they're not able to breathe. But actually, the problem was the exhale. They had too much prana. They had so much apana, so many toxins stuck that they couldn't bring in air because they didn't allow their exhale. They didn't have enough exhale to allow more air in, right? Does that make sense? It's such a great book. You guys should read it. Okay, so when a person is slow and heavy, it can be said that they have too much apana. If apana builds up, it causes blockages and prevents prana from filling the space for overall health. So that's basically what I just said. If you don't eliminate the excess, if you don't eliminate the rubbish, if you don't get it out of your body, then you can't bring in more. Okay? Why does apana accumulate? That's a very good question. Because diet, lifestyle, poor eating habits, there's a lot of reasons. Yoga and Ayurveda reduce the impurities that can build up. So someone who has shortness of breath or cannot hold their breath or cannot exhale slowly are seen to as having too much apana. So they have too much accumulation. They're not getting rid of the apana. It's not going out of the body. They're holding on, they're gripping. That's pelvic floor dysfunction oftentimes, lower intestines, colon issues, constipation issues, all of those things. That means that that person, and it could be because of fear, it could be, like I said, because of a trauma, like an actual injury. There's a lot of reasons. So they can't eliminate. So it's now building up all the rubbish, and now they can't bring in prana. Okay. Yoga reduces the impurities that can build up. Someone who has shortness of breath and cannot hold their breath, cannot exhale slowly, are also seen to have too much apana, remember? An overabundance of apana leads to problems in all areas of the body, so not just lower body. We want to reduce apana to bring more prana into the body. So we want to eliminate the apana, reduce it, so we can bring in more vital force, so that we literally are pillars of light. How it works. Okay, here's how it works. When you inhale, prana from the outside is brought in. During the inhalation, prana meets with the apana here in the navel. During exhale, the apana within the body moves towards the prana. Also, holding the breath after inhaling moves the prana towards apana and holds it there. Holding the breath after exhale moves apana towards prana. Woohoo! Another thumbs up. All right, so these are just things to think about, that your breath is actually helping your digestive fire. So working with your breath, making sure that you're eliminating, extending your exhale, being able to hold your breath, all of these things, like I said, are ways to know, oh my gosh, I have too much apana in my body. So here's the things you want to ask yourself. Do I have a buildup of impurities? Do I have shortness of breath? Can I hold my breath? Am I able to exhale slowly, right? Those things you want to look at. And if you're not able to do those things, it means you've got a buildup. And it's time to do some pranayama and start to work that stuff out, create space for more vital force, so that you are walking around like a big, bright light, shining your loveliness all over the world. All right. Okay, so that's our talk for tonight on Agni. It's a little bit different because this is the yoga approach towards Agni. And remember, Agni in Ayurveda, you're looking at your digestive fire and how can you get your digestive fire going. And you're going to do that using Ayurveda with the diet and with the lifestyle and all of your habits, right? All of that matters. So you can help your digestive fire increase with herbs and things like that using Ayurveda. And then with yoga, you can use pranayama, you can use yoga postures. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. Okay, well, if you have any questions, reach out to me. It's a very interesting talk, Agni. And remember, it's extremely important. If you care about your metabolism, if you care about your thyroid, you care about your hormones, you should care about your Agni, because that is the beginning. Agni, strong Agni, means you have a good metabolism. All right. So let's start with our practice. Let me just get it going.